helped. But again, we were engaged on behalf of really the taxpayers, so we stayed. But nobody got back to us about our report. Nobody ever came back and said there was any factual inaccuracy with what we presented. Nobody had any concerns with the recommendations. So as I stand here today, unless something has changed between June of 2023 and basically we're in April 2024, this is what we saw and what we were concerned about, right? So let me get into it, and then I guess I can open it up for questions for the board if you like, or I can just present it and I'll give the hard copy and you guys disseminate it however you
Richard, I
wish.
just want to be clear on
Okay.
a couple of things. The entire board voted to have this audit, am I correct?
That's our understanding, yes. There's a public record. We looked at the minutes because that was raised and the resolutions, I believe, were in favor of it, a majority in favor or even 100%. I don't remember, but we did ask for that because that was raised. It was an allegation that some people said they didn't vote for it, but no, we were, as far as we were aware, we were engaged by the entire board.
Right, and you had cooperation for the entire board until we got to the end of the investigation, am I correct?
Correct, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Which we put in our report, because that is one thing that, given the type of investigation we're doing, cooperation is something that's considered, right? So, you know, sometimes you can't get to the document. Sometimes somebody becomes an impediment to it. We were able to access everything that we wanted, and up until we made the, about a week before the presentation, there seemed to be no issue with what we were doing. Everybody was in agreement, and then that tone changed. And to the point where our bill was not paid, right? Our bill's over a year outstanding.
Could you tell the public why did the tone change? When we got to what subject that the tone changed?
I take this, I'm gonna speculate a little bit, which probably gets me in trouble, right? But we started to ask additional questions about some specific transactions. So in the course of what we were doing, what we were focused on was all the activity, the financial activity of the municipality being recorded in the records, right? And the answer was clearly no, because we had, $2.2 million of accounts payable to the state of New York that was not on your accounting records. So then we expanded that and said, okay, was all the revenue being collected? Like, is there a concern that tax money is not going in, right? So we took a look at that. But in addition to just, typical tax revenue you get from the taxpayer, there's other sources of revenue, specifically if property is sold. So we started to look into certain properties that were sold during the year, and we wanted to confirm that the money actually went to where it was supposed to go. And it was at that point that the tone changed. So I can't really say anything about it other than the tone changed, and we hit a point where we needed to wrap up our engagement. Right? We had already well expanded beyond what we were engaged to do, and so we wrapped it up. But that's when the sort of this tone changed for us. So I don't know what the status is. We asked for a number of properties. We got information on some of them, and they did go where they were supposed to go. So there was comfort in that. But when we asked for some additional properties, we never were able to get that information. So that technically would still be outstanding.
Thank you.
Okay, so the period of time that we were asked to look at was January 1st of 2019 to January 5th of 2023. And so a lot of times we identify a period with interaction with the people that are engaging us, your board, but with this type of thing, we might go beyond that time period if it's something that A, we can do economically, and B, it kind of makes sense. But for the most part, when I'm talking about time period and transactions, it's that time period, January 1st of 2019 to January 5th of 2023. Okay, so that's what we refer to as the period. We were, as far as we know, unanimously approved by the Board of Trustees on January 11th of 2023 for this engagement. And so our primary focus was on the basic responsibilities of the CFO, who reports to the Board of Trustees. First and foremost, at the time, and this report was issued on June 7th of 2023. So I apologize for throwing a lot of dates. Things could have changed because we're almost a year after that. But at the time, there had not been an unqualified audit opinion since the fiscal year ending July 31st of 2018. Okay, so that means that you didn't have your 19, your 20, your 21, and we were in 22. So we were in 23 was when your 22 would be audited. but as far as we know, you had not had a, what's called a unqualified audit